What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the DaVinci Resolve podcast, episode number 9 here. And it's a podcast where I just go through comments that I get on my YouTube channel and I answer them on the podcast here for you, because sometimes it's just a little bit easier to explain something and talk about it than it is to reply in a comment. I always try to reply to comments anyway, try and help you guys out as much as I can. But here on the podcast, we get to talk a little bit more about the questions that you guys might have. And a lot of these things are questions that someone might ask, one person might ask, but I'm sure there's a lot of you that have similar questions out there. And no question is a dumb question. When it comes to Resolve, there is so much to learn. I mean, I have so much to learn still that you can really just ask questions pretty much forever here. So today we're going to jump into a whole bunch of questions that I pulled from you guys. But what I'd like to do first is start out by saying thank you to some people who left some super thanks on my channel here on some various videos. The first super thanks is from a channel called Proto Crush. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate any support that you guys give me, even if it's just watching a video, giving a thumbs up, or if you want to leave a super thanks or pick up something from my store. You don't have to, but I really do appreciate it. And it does help support the channel and helps allow me to continue doing what I'm doing here to make more awesome content for you guys. So Proto Crush, thank you so much for your super thanks. And we also have BH Photo Graphics. Thank you so much for your super thanks on a video, how to make music songs longer in DaVinci Resolve 17. Really appreciate your support there. Again, anything that you guys do, even if it's just watching a video, giving a thumbs up, I really appreciate all the support that all you guys out there give me. And just, it allows me to have the opportunity to do this and just make videos to help people out there and really learn more myself too. I mean, I love answering your questions about DaVinci Resolve, because in the process of doing that and answering your questions, I actually learned a whole bunch more about Resolve that, maybe it was something I didn't know about. Maybe it's something I just had to look into, but it's a learning process for me here too. I'm always learning new stuff. So really appreciate your super thanks there, guys, and all the questions that everybody asks out there. So with that said, let's get into the first question here. So here's the first question, and it says, now let's say I managed to detect the sound frequency that my mouse clicking sounds make. How do I go about reducing that specific frequency if I already have other EQ and dynamics set up for my voice and my game track as 2 separate tracks? So this was a question on a video called Frequency Analyzer Audio Effect. And what they're asking here is if they have 2 different tracks of audio, one has gameplay audio and one has them, speaking, I'm assuming some kind of dialogue or maybe just talking about the game. And they notice that they've got the mouse clicks in there and they want to try and remove that. But they've already used some EQ maybe on the channel in Fairlight. So how do we then EQ on top of the EQ that we already did? So you do have a way that you can do that. If it's in just a few clips, or even if it's in multiple clips, we have another EQ that we can use in the inspector. So in general, I'm going to recommend that you use the EQ that's in the Fairlight tab, because that's going to apply your EQ to the entire track, which is most of the time what we want to do. But if you use your EQ and then you need to, EQ out maybe one other frequency, in this case, your mouse clicks, you can do that too. So in order to do that, you would just select your clip, open up the inspector, and you've got about 4 points that you can work with in the inspector EQ versus the Fairlight EQ. You've got, I think, 6 points you can work with. So you can use one of those points in the inspector, set it however you want, maybe drop out whatever frequency you need. And then if you needed to copy that to more clips, you can always select the audio clip. You can use Command or Control C to copy the settings of that clip. Then you can select all of your other clips that you want to paste those parameters to. And you can use your Option on a Mac or Alt key on a PC plus the letter V, and that's going to paste attributes. And you can select whether you wanted to do the EQ, the volume, the dynamics, the plugins, the panning, I think. So you've got a couple options of what you can pick. So if you don't want to change the volume, that's fine. You can apply just the EQ audio parameter or that attribute. You can apply that to as many clips as you have selected. So that works out really quick. I love that Option and Alt V to paste your attributes. I use that all the time fantastic tip there. Definitely use that all the time. So that's how you can kind of work with 2 EQs. Now, the other way that you can work with, 2 EQs essentially on your track is if you've got any plugins, effects plugins that are also EQ plugins, you can EQ using the Resolve EQ. And then you can always add a plugin EQ on top of that if you need to, EQ it in more than one spot. And another way that you can even use multiple EQs is if you send your track over to a bus, that bus is now going to have another EQ on it right here in Fairlight that you can use to, adjust frequencies or settings that you might need to. So you've got a bunch of different ways that you can use multiple EQs on, a particular track. So it just depends on how you want to do it. Moving on to the next question here. The question is there a Fairlight equivalent to the mastering effect in Premiere and Audition? I searched everywhere, but I can't find out how to get Fairlight to match those settings. I use it extensively in Premiere projects, but really need it in Fairlight. Thanks, anyone who can help. So I did look this up, but I did look it up like a week or two ago. So a little rusty on exactly what the mastering effect does. But if I remember correctly, I think it just kind of boosted your highs and your lows a little bit. And just, gave it a little extra, sweetness there for your mix. So, I mean, you could do that in Fairlight super easy. Just jump on your EQ on your main bus out there. You can boost your highs a little and boost your lows a little bit. Maybe put a little dip in the middle, just a little bit of, mastering there. It doesn't take long. You can set it up once, make a preset, boom, you're good to go. So what I would do is I would look at the settings that you have applied through that effect in Premiere or Audition. Then I would just jump into Fairlight and create those same parameters. So you might not be able to adjust it, but just set it for your video and you should be good to go, I would think. So there's not a drop-on mastering effect that's built into Resolve. There's certainly third-party plugins that you can drop on for mastering and stuff like that. But it seems like a few simple changes that you can make are essentially going to do the same thing as the mastering effect in Premiere and Audition. Although I'm not 100% because I've never actually used the mastering effect in Premiere or Audition. But I imagine it's fairly similar. And if you just look at it and see what it's doing, you could probably replicate that in Fairlight pretty easy. Save yourself a preset. Boom, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about applying that every single time. You just throw the preset onto your main bus out. The next question here on a video called 3 Tips to Remove Audio Background Noise in DaVinci Resolve. It says, hi, I'm getting the voice isolation on the entire track, even when selecting just one clip. What am I missing here? Do I have to, what helps if I can read sometimes, right? What am I missing here to separate individual clips with severe wind noise? I don't want the effect on the entire track. Secondly, it's Resolve's own effect. Is Resolve's own effect on par with the one from Waves that you showed a year ago? All right, so let's break this down. So the first part of the question is the voice isolation is applying to the entire track. So if you want it applied only to a clip, make sure you're selecting just the clip because it sounds like you must be accidentally selecting the entire track. And that's why it's getting applied to the whole track. If you want it just on one clip, make sure you only select the clip and your track is not highlighted as well. Because you can select both at the same time, have the track highlighted and the clip selected. So make sure you're only selecting the clip that you want. The other option is just to use more tracks, right? If you have a bunch of clips you want to apply voice isolation to, you want to use it on a track level, put those clips in one track. And if you have other clips that don't need the voice isolation or need more of it, drop those down into a new track and then just apply, your specific voice isolation settings onto that particular track. That should work out just fine. I would say use more tracks if you can. It takes a little bit of time to separate the stuff out, but with a few quick keyboard shortcuts, you could just pop clips up and down tracks really quickly. So, and then the second part of that question is the voice isolation on par with the Waves Clarity VX? And yeah, actually, I've done some tests on this, and I think the Waves Clarity and the voice isolation are very, very similar. Since voice isolation came out, I pretty much use that all the time instead of the Waves plugin. The Waves plugin does great, but if you can't afford Studio, you don't have Studio, you only want to spend, $20 or $30 on a plugin, the Waves Clarity VX is going to do the job for you. But I just stick with voice isolation because it's built in, it's native to the program. I've got Studio and it works great. There's very few instances where I tested that they work differently. For the most part, both of those effects work the same. So, yeah, I would just go ahead and use voice isolation in Studio. If you don't have Studio, I would highly recommend you save up to get it because it just runs smoother. You got better tools in there. It's 100% worth it if you're editing video on a regular basis. So that answers that question. The next question we have here is on a video demystifying frame rates in DaVinci Resolve. And it says, hello, thanks for the video. So it's not possible to do a slow-mo of say 80% or 70% in the case of a timeline at 25 frames per second and a shoot at 50 frames per second, for example. Thank you. So frame rates here, this is something that I struggled with for quite a while, coming from photography into video. So when we have a frame rate for our timeline, in this case at 25 frames per second, and we're dropping in clips that are at 50 frames per second, we can either just drop in our 50 frame per second clip, and it's automatically going to play back in real time, right? It'll just drop the frames that it needs. Resolve knows what it needs to run a 50 frame per second clip in a 25 frame per second timeline. It'll just play it back and it should work out okay. But if you wanted to slow it down, you could slow it down several ways. You could do it right in the media pool by right-clicking on the clip, going into the video section and changing the frame rate, and that's going to slow it down. So if you wanted slow motion, you would change that 50 frame per second clip to 25 frames per second. And then when you drop it in the timeline, it's automatically going to play back at half the speed and give you some slow motion. But if you didn't want to do that, you only wanted a few clips in slow motion or a few clips at 70 or 80% in this case, what I would do is I would just drop my regular clip into the timeline at 50 frames per second. And then you can jump in there and you can change the speed of the clip using your retime controls. So that's Command R on a Mac. You can also right click on the clip, and let me just do it so I can make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Right click on the clip and you can do retime controls. And that's going to give you the little arrows on the clip that allows you to grab them and stretch it out. And you can pick exactly what speed you want that clip to be at. So you could do it that way too. You can also, when you right click on the clip, open up, change clip speed. And in there, you can just punch in the percentage of speed that you want. So you've got a bunch of different ways to do it. And yeah, you can play it back at whatever frame rate you want in the timeline, change it to whatever you want. Now, is it going to look good? I don't know. Depends on your clip. You may want to use some of the other settings in there for the retime controls, like optical flow or the motion estimation settings. You might want to change those. So yeah, you can definitely change the speed clips, make them whatever you want them to be. And yeah, do whatever you want with it. And hopefully it looks good. You're going to have to take a look at your clip and see how it works out once you drop it into your particular timeline. All right, the next question we have here is on a video called 5 Tips for Smooth and Fast Playback and Editing in DaVinci Resolve 18. So this one's a little long. It says, thanks so much, Jason. This helped a lot. It's a weird, though, as I've been editing with this program in the laptop for a couple of years without any lagging. It's been absolutely accurate, even an hour-long video. Yet in the last few weeks, it's been extremely difficult to use this program. Even when first starting on a short, a 3-minute video, the lagging has been terrible. I uninstalled the program, reinstalled it, but no difference. However, after following all your instructions, it's much better, though not perfect, as I'm even after doing everything that you suggested, it's still running slow. I bought the laptop a couple years ago as I needed one with more power to do editing, and it's been going really well until now. Any other ideas by chance that you, who knows everything about there is about DaVinci Resolve? Best wishes, Alison Hood from Western Australia. So, well, first of all, I don't know hardly anything about Resolve if I'm being honest. I mean, there's so much to learn. But so you tried out a couple things to make your playback a little bit smoother, right? Let's just jump in Resolve. I want to show you what those are if you're watching, and I'm just going to talk through it if you're listening. So in Resolve, the tips in the video were to go to the Playback menu, come down to Timeline Proxy Resolution and change that from full down to either half or quarter, and then also adjust the render cache from none to smart. That way Resolve will kind of render stuff in the background for you. And then the other tips, I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. This video was a while ago, but I probably said make some proxy files. That might have been one of the things I said. But basically, sometimes, things just start to slow down and run a little bit slower. And one of the reasons and one of the suggestions that I made for her is to try deleting your render cache, right? If you come up to the playback menu, come down to delete render cache, and you can either go to manage cache data, and that's going to allow you to look at all the different projects you have to see what's going on where. You can do that, or you can just do all and delete all your render cache, which should not be a problem. I mean, if you're in a particular project that has a lot of render cache, Resolve will have to recreate that. So you might want to think about, where you're deleting it. For me, I don't care. I mean, I just delete all of it. I actually go to the folder where all the cache is stored on my hard drive, and I delete all of it at once. I got a video about that, about saving 87 gigs of space, and people have saved literally hundreds of gigs of space by deleting the render cache because they didn't know they were supposed to, clean that out once in a while, because Resolve just keeps adding it up and packing it in there. You definitely want to clean out your render cache. That might help. Other things, maybe your computer hard drive's a little full. You might want to check that out. You might want to make sure you've got a decent amount of space on there. I always edit my media, or I put my media, I should say, on external hard drives, on SSDs, just so I don't clog up my internal drive here on my machine. So you want to check out that, make sure Resolve is up to date, make sure your computer's up to date, your graphics cards are up to date. Things like that are things that I would check to make sure, everything is where it needs to be to make sure that Resolve is going to go ahead and run smooth for us. So, so that's where I would start kind of taking a look at those things and seeing if maybe one of those things are what is causing the slowdown on your computer. The next question here is on a video, real-world audio editing in DaVinci Resolve 18, where I took one of our viewers' audio files of four-wheeling out in the mountains somewhere out west in the United States here, and showed how I would balance out the audio a little bit because it was a little weird where I think the camera was doing some like auto leveling or something, and it just didn't work out good. It wasn't what we wanted. So this comment is, I really don't understand how to use so many keyframes for audio. So when it comes to audio keyframes, it's as easy as just dropping them onto an audio clip and just making adjustments to make it sound the way we want and get the levels that we want. So when we drop audio keyframes on there and we want to move part of our clip, I'll just show you on a clip here in Resolve as I talk through it here. But let's say we wanted to, make an adjustment to an audio clip. And what you can do is, let me bring up something here. If you add the keyframes, you can hold your Alt or Option key and just click on the little gain line that appears on your audio clips. So you would just hold your Option or Alt and then click on the gain line. If you don't see the gain line on your audio clips, just go to the timeline view options. Make sure that your gain line is shown. But when we're adding in keyframes for audio, you need to add 2 of them because you want it to slope up from your volume that it's at, slope up or down to the next volume. And you can't do that with just one keyframe because then it's going to bend the whole, the whole frame or the whole clip. But we just want to, work on a specific area. So you're going to add the keyframes there, and you want to add, say, 4 keyframes, and then you can adjust the part that's in the middle. So add some keyframes, and then we can just grab our middle part and bring it up and down. So that's one way to do it. Now, when you're working with some automation, it's going to add in a ton of keyframes for you automatically. It looks confusing and harder than it is, but it's really not too bad if you understand the automation process. So keyframes in audio, it's just trying to balance things out a little bit better. You can use tools like the dialogue leveler, the compressor, the makeup slider, and dynamics. You can use those to help balance things out too. But sometimes we want to just manually, change a few areas of our audio clip, and we use keyframes to do that. So they come in handy, and they're not as hard as you might think once you get in there and start playing with them. But usually you need like 4 of them in order to grab a little section and raise or lower it. All right, the next comment/question, it's not really a question, more of a comment here on backing up a database in DaVinci Resolve, or a project, in DaVinci Resolve. And I just thought this was an interesting comment and made some sense. So here it is from LTL King. The question isn't how to, it's more why should we do these things? You've already covered most everything and just going over things again. Well, that's true. I mean, I do remake videos because, people don't necessarily always find the old stuff, and there's a lot of new people, coming into the DaVinci Resolve space, looking to learn stuff. So I do remake videos. But then he says, what can we do with these effects? Why don't you start a vlog and teach why you do these things? That's why Pete got so big. And Pete, I'm assuming he's meaning Peter McKinnon, his main thing was a vlog with adding in editing tips. And I like the idea that I really do, to do more of like a vlog thing and in the, you know, the style that Peter does it. But I kind of feel like nobody would care about anything I would vlog about. I've made a few vlog type videos and things that are not, you know, tutorials directly, you know, in Resolve, and they never really seem to do good. People don't really seem to care about it all that much. It is fun to make that kind of content, and I do want to do more things where I create something, right, whatever the video might be, whether it's a vlog or something else, and then show you how I, you know, edited things or made a graphic, or how I use the overlays or things like that. Like, how do I make these things in my projects, you know? Because a lot of it, like, I don't think it's any big deal. I just like kind of throw stuff together, whatever comes to mind. But when you're just getting started, or if you're looking for ideas, like I watch stuff like that all the time. You know, maybe you guys are interested in that stuff. I don't know. But I do like the idea of doing other styles of video and then incorporating, okay, well, how did I do this in that video, right? So maybe that's something I could look into in 2024 here, because, you know, it's fun to make different kinds of stuff, right? I mean, tutorials are great. I love helping people. It's great. But it is nice to do different things once in a while. So thanks, man. I will keep that in mind. Appreciate your comment on that. Next question, how to make YouTube shorts for TikTok, or how to make YouTube shorts or TikTok videos in DaVinci Resolve. I do have a free project setup file for that if you're interested. Head on over to my Shopify. You can check that out. It's a freebie. But Dave Smith here says, I need help. I changed the dimensions to 1080 by 1920 and rendered it to my computer, but when I uploaded it to YouTube to be a shorts, it's not showing as a short. The video's link before publishing the video, so my video was only showing as a rectangular length video. So we're getting the rectangular video. We're not getting the vertical shorts form. Couple reasons for that, and this has happened to me a bunch of times. And typically, I'm going to set up my project here in Resolve as a vertical project. I'll edit it, and then I've exported it out. And what happens is I forget to check the box in our deliver settings that say, hey, make this a vertical video. So it ends up rendering out a rectangular video. Then I go upload it to YouTube and it doesn't see it as a short because it's a normal rectangular video. So you need to make sure in the deliver page, and I'm just going to jump in there real quick. So if you're watching, you can see, but I typically use custom export settings here. And in the export settings, under your resolution, you're going to have use vertical format. So you're going to want to check that and make sure it's turned on. And that's going to for sure give you the vertical format. Now, the other thing that I've noticed is with the vertical format, if your video is very close to 1 minute, like it's, 59 seconds or just over 59 seconds, but not quite a minute, sometimes Resolve puts the playhead just at a minute, and when you go to upload it to YouTube, it doesn't see it as a short because it's just a touch too long. So I've had that issue before too. Something that you can look at and try, seeing if that's the issue too. But usually it's that vertical horizontal thing. It's like your video not actually, the render is not actually vertical. It's actually horizontal. So that's what I would check for that. Next question, copy paste grades from color nodes in one click. Awesome video. I'm glad I found this. Honestly, small things like this are so simple, but people like myself just need to be able to know they exist. And that's the thing I feel like a lot of the videos I make, if you don't know what you're looking for, how would you ever find it, Which is a little frustrating. I don't know how to get a video out in front of you guys of something that you might not know that might be helpful for you, right? Because if you don't know it, you're not searching for it. How would it come across to, your desk or your feed? And I guess that's where the YouTube algorithm comes in, right? So I just need to make better videos and better titles and better thumbnails so that way you guys want to click it and watch it, right? But yeah, there's a lot of things in here in every single tab of just these cool little features that make editing easier, that help your life when you're working on videos and in Resolve here. And, if you don't know what you're looking for, how would you look for it, right? So I make a lot of videos. I just put them out there and I hope that, somehow people stumble on them and they get a little traction, because a lot of tips that, could be helpful for you guys or things that I do, they just come in handy. So hopefully, that kind of stuff pops up. But yeah, going to keep making tips videos. Help you guys, right? That's the whole goal here. I want to help you guys. Moving on to the next section. This is on actually my biggest video that I've got on my channel is not even a DaVinci Resolve video. It's literally a video that I threw together in no time. It's called The Best Blue Yeti Settings, how to get the best sound from the Blue Yeti microphone. And the comment is, awesome guide along with an awesome comment section. So this video's got hundreds of thousands of views on it. And literally, I was about to stop using the Blue Yeti microphone as I was upgrading to other microphones. And I'm like, you know what? This is a great microphone. There's some videos out there on YouTube about it. I could make a better video than some of these. So I was like, before I put it away, let me go ahead and film a video and throw it out there. So I did. I just shot from the hip off the top of my head with settings and how to set up the microphone, how to make it sound good. Because with that microphone, while it sounds great, there are some things that if you don't set it up properly, then, you know, you could... Sorry, my computer's dinging here. I'm trying to turn this off. Stop giving me the notifications, dude. Not sleep. Do not disturb. There we go. Do not disturb. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So anyway, with that microphone, if you don't set it up properly, then it doesn't sound good. It makes a lot of extra noise. It's a very sensitive microphone. So anyway, whatever. I just made that video on a whim, and it's amazing because that video has done so well. And I really want to make some more videos about the Blue Yeti just because it's a great mic. A lot of people still use it. Granted, now there are better microphones for probably the same price, but, you know, you can make some cool videos with that mic, and people are out there looking for that stuff. So yeah, so if you're interested in the Blue Yeti, you want some microphone tips and recording tips, check out that video. It's the biggest video on my channel. Pretty crazy, right? Next comment we have here is on how to use power grades to help speed up your workflow. I said power grades. You know what? That title is wrong. Is that supposed to be power bins? Huh. How to use power grades. Oh, did I? I'm all kinds of confused now. Anyway, so the comment is, Jason, if someone sends me a power grade that they created, how would I get it into Resolve? So just jump in Resolve here. If you're in the color tab and you've got your power grades open, which is in your gallery, and if you don't see it, there's a little icon at the top left here you have to click to open. Then you should be able to see your power grades. Well, if you come to any power grade and right click on it, you can both import and export that power grade. So yeah, so you can just I'm really confusing myself here because I think that video is actually about power bins, not power grades. Did I just title that wrong? I'm going to have to check that out. You know what? Let me just give that a second now. I'm going to just take a quick look here on my YouTube channel. How to use power grades. Is that? I am all kinds of confused. All right, I'm going to have to look into that later because I just did one about power bins. How do you... But I don't know why that title is coming up weird on that comment for me. I don't know. I'm going to look into that later. You know what? This is always a learning process. Whether it's YouTube, DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't matter. It's always a learning process. And we do a lot of problem solving, figuring stuff out. I got a little coffee going here. Loves me some coffee. All right, let's get on to the next question here. So this is a question on a microphone too quiet video that I put out where I reviewed the Samson microphone... Let me get the name right. Samson High-Rise Microphone Booster, which I'm actually using right now on the plus 20 dB with the high-frequency boost on the Samsung microphone, the Q9X right here. This is my podcast mic because it looks like a podcast mic, and it sounds really good. I like it. It's a dynamic microphone. Awesome. So anyway, here's the comment from Electronics for the Inquisitive. It says, this is for an analog mic. He actually means an XLR mic. I have a similar problem with a USB mic. The mic levels recording in Windows are all the way up and it's still too quiet. You have to practically eat the microphone and talk loud to get decent levels. Post-processing required. Is there such an awesome device for USB microphones? So awesome device, he means, is there a booster, a microphone signal booster for USB microphones? And I've never seen anything. I did a quick search on it and nothing came up. I haven't seen that. I've only seen boosters for XLR microphones. And typically you're going to need them with a dynamic microphone, whether it's one like the Samson Q9X right here, the Shure SM7B, although they just came out with the one that has the built-in booster. Pretty sweet. But a lot of times those dynamic microphones need a boost, right? So you don't have to crank your audio interface up so high. So, yeah, I haven't seen any for a USB setup. I don't think it exists. I really don't. I think you just need to jump in there, change the settings on your computer for your input settings, and then your microphone, if it's got settings on there, you need to adjust that. If that's still not enough for you, it could be the microphone. I mean, I don't know what mic you're using. Maybe you need... Actually, it looks like you said PLY? Painting? I don't know. So maybe just need a better microphone too. I don't know. Maybe we need an upgrade there. So yeah, no USBs. It's on XLRs, and that's the only way I've ever seen it. Next question on subtitles in DaVinci Resolve 17. Create a tutorial on how to create a karaoke text effect using DaVinci Resolve free version. So you can do like a karaoke style where the words pop up on the bottom of the screen. I do that all the time. It's as easy as just, setting some in points and out points. You can have it create the subtitles for you for that little section or for the entire, video that you've got there. And what you want to do is just make sure you check the settings so that way the titles are short enough. Like, do you want, a sentence on the screen, or do you want a word on the screen and have it, flip through really quickly? But yeah, you can totally do that with the subtitles. I can't remember off the top of my head if the subtitles are only in Studio or are they in the free version too. I don't remember. I think the transcription is only in Studio. I'm not sure. Somebody can double check me on that. Drop a comment if you check that out, because I'll probably forget to go back and check it. But yeah, I mean, you can totally do that and accomplish what you want to here in Resolve. Next question we have here: how to back up and restore your database in DaVinci Resolve 18. Question: do you know if we are able to download or save the cloud library backup to a hard drive? Thanks for this video. Yeah, sure. I don't see why not. I mean, if I just jump in Resolve now and go to my cloud database here, and let's see. Oh, it's going to take a moment to load up here. Let's see. Can I back it up? Is it going to let me back it up? Well, I didn't actually create the database I'm looking at right now. Somebody else did. Hence, we're working on a cloud project. So it looks like I cannot back it up, but it looks like probably on the other side, they can back it up. So if I created my own cloud-based library, project library, or database, I'm sure I could back it up then, and you save it onto your local hard drive. Yeah. But since I didn't create this database I'm looking at right now, I can't do it, but I'm sure the person on the other side can. So yeah, I think that is totally possible, and I think you can put it wherever you want on your own internal hard drive. All right, next question is about normalizing audio levels versus dynamics. And here is the question. Sorry for bothering you, Jay, but can you tell me in regards to your other video where you told us about the -14 LUFS loudness level for YouTube standard, if I understood correctly, that to make our video loudness comply with YouTube standards, we need to do the following: increase gain in the dynamics panel of your voiceover track. If it's not enough, increase gain for bus 1. By bus 1, understand all of the audio in your video, including the voiceover music, sound effects, etc. And then number 3, use the compressor for the voiceover audio to make our sound better after changes we've done to reduce peaks. Did I understand you correctly? Do you have a special video about it on how to comply with the 14 LUFS loudness standard? I do have a video on it. I need to make a new one because it's old. Chadwick also has a great video on it. Chadwick's awesome, man. I've chatted with him a bunch. I love his stuff. He's fantastic. So you can check out his video too, but I'm going to remake one about it too. But when it comes to the loudness standards for YouTube, I think the process he described here is a little incorrect. And this is my comment and reply to him, was how you want to think about meeting these standards for YouTube or for any other platform for that matter, is start by going through your individual tracks, your dialogue, your music, your sound effects, set all the levels on those tracks properly. When it comes to meeting, loudness standards, essentially the way you mix and edit your tracks is going to be the same. The meeting loudness requirements is only going to happen at the end of the process in what I would consider like the mastering of your particular audio, the particular audio for your video. So your particular video. So start with individual tracks, set your levels, set your effects, apply your EQ, your dynamics, get your tracks sounding good, right? Where they should be, right? For your dialogue, your music, your sound effects. Get that all set up, mix it together good, make it sound the way you want it to sound. When it comes to meeting that YouTube standard, we're going to check that after everything is done. All our editing is done. We're going to go ahead and check our loudness levels in Resolve. Now, you can do that using the built-in tools in Resolve. It'll show you a little graph, on whether you're meeting the -14 LUFS or if you're getting close to it. You can also use some third-party plugins. I have a Waves plugin I love that I use to to help me monitor that and check it. And I do this on every single video at the very end of my process after everything else is done. I'll just check out my levels. And if you do need to boost it up a little bit, you've got different ways you can do it. You can use your dynamics a little bit with a little bit of compressor on your main bus out. What I do is I have an effect. It's an L1 dynamics plugin from Waves, and that allows me to apply like a limiter. I guess it's a limiter. I'll just show it on the screen here real quick for anybody who's watching. It's the L1 limiter. Yeah, it's a limiter. So on this effect here, it's got an output ceiling that says, hey, don't let anything go above this. So I usually set that at about -1 or -1.5. And then it's got a threshold where as I bring down the threshold, it kind of increases the volume of everything. So we're bringing everything up, making sure it doesn't get too high, but making sure that we can meet our -14 LUFS. So if you're watching this, I have the L1 limiter, and then I also use the Waves WLM plus stereo, and this is gonna read my my LUFS level for me. And I can also adjust my gain level if I need to bring it up or bring it down. So when I'm using this plugin, I'm not really boosting the main bus one with the fader. You could, and that's no problem. But with this effect or this meter here, I can actually make an adjustment, up or down in the gain of everything as a whole. So that's kind of how I use these two tools to find my loudness, make sure it looks good. Typically, my loudness is going to be anywhere between -16 and 15, maybe -17, -16, -15, somewhere in there. Because I don't want to get too close to that -14 because I don't want YouTube to squash down my audio or whatever, or normalize it on me. So I always make sure I'm just a little bit under that, and it's plenty loud enough. But making sure you get your LUFS levels and your loudness levels right is going to make a big difference when you are uploading to YouTube. That's why some videos are quiet, some videos are loud, because some people look at their loudness, some don't. Some people just throw everything really loud. But I would recommend set your tracks and everything to like where it's supposed to be, like a dialogue around -10 dB. And then on the bus, on the main out, that's where I'm going to make adjustments to meet my LUFS level. Some people will just set their dialogue up to like, hey, -2 dB. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I'm not saying you can't. It could totally work, but I don't think that's the right way to do it. So a little bit long-winded there. Of loudness it's a whole thing, but usually the last step in the process, and that's kind of how I handle it. So the process you described there isn't quite accurate. I think if you follow the way I kind of explained it here, set everything on your tracks first, then jump into your bus, and when you're mastering everything, make sure you're meeting those LUFS levels. You can boost it or lower it, everything as a whole a little bit, because that's what loudness is measuring, everything as a whole. Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit more info there about all the loudness stuff there, and the -14 LUFS for YouTube. The next comment is on that biggest video of all time on my channel that I was telling you about, how to get the best sound from the Blue Yeti. But it's a good question. It says, how are you using it to record your YouTube content? Are you running it into a camera, into a computer, and then syncing with the camera in post-processing and deleting old layers from the camera audio? So anytime I'm recording, for right now for the podcast, for example, whatever microphone I have in general, if I'm at my desk here and I'm in my studio, I'm recording my audio separate directly into the computer. Now, there's different programs I use. Sometimes I'll go right into DaVinci Resolve. A lot of times I'm recording into my screen recording software, ScreenFlow, because it does a great job of just capturing the raw audio for me. You can use things like GarageBand, or I don't know what comes, standard on Windows, but whatever you got there, you can use anything to record directly in your computer. Use OBS, for example. That's free for everybody. Reaper, that's another great free DAW that you can use to record anything. But I'm always going to record into the computer. And then on my camera, I've got another shotgun mic up there. It's recording my audio. In the beginning, I give a good clap. And then that's enough for Resolve to just sync everything up. And it works out great. So I'll bring in, my good audio. I'll bring in my camera with the audio attached to it. I'll sync them up in the media pool. Boom. I'm good to go. And I just drop my clip into the timeline. And then what's cool with Resolve is that when you sync up good audio like that, you still only see your video track and your audio track. So let's just jump into Resolve here. I'm going to show you. In the Edit tab, I have a talking head video here. Well, that's a multicam clip. Let's see. Did I do this all multicam? Might have. So let me see if this looks right here. Come on up to Clip Attributes. Where are you at, Clip Attributes? Come on. He's hiding on me. I guess it's because it's a multicam clip. So I just jumped into another project here real quick. So if I pick one of my clips and then I right click on it and we come down to Oh, where are you? I know you're right here. Clip attributes at the bottom. There you are. All right. So now if I look at my clip attributes under audio, now we can see that the source channel here, it has linked 1 and linked 2, and that is the good audio that I recorded. But if I click on that drop down, you can see I still have my embedded audio 1 and embedded audio 2, which is the audio that was recorded on the camera. So you can think about it as having multiple layers of audio attached to your clip, right? And then we can choose which one we want to use. So if things get synced out of whack or something's messed up, you can always go back to your original audio. You don't have to, redo your clips or anything like that, or put things in the timeline again. You don't have to do that. You can just select the clip, check out the clip attributes, and then pick whatever, audio source that you want. So that's how I would do it. I always record good audio separate, have some scratch audio on the camera. There has been times where I've had to use the camera audio because something didn't work out right with the microphone or the recording or something. Hey, it happens. What are you going to do? It gives us a chance to edit our audio, make it sound better, right? Yes, that happens sometimes. But I sync it up here in Resolve. You can sync it right in the media pool, and then your audio will be part of the same clip, just like I showed here. Or you can sync it in the timeline and have multiple tracks of audio and just mute the track that you don't want. So that's how I do it. I don't record, and I've never recorded a USB microphone into a camera. Now, I can do XLR into a camera. My C100 Mark II here has XLR on top of it. But in general, I just go to the computer because I feel like I'm more confident that I'm going to get a better recording than if I went into the camera. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how I do it. Unless I'm out in the field and filming something, then I'll go right into the camera. I don't necessarily bring an external recorder, but yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. The next question here on a video I just put out, 5 tips in DaVinci Resolve you should know. Have you seen or used the Tourbox editing device? Looks really interesting, but is it worth it? I have seen the Tourbox. It does look interesting, and they had reached out to me a long time ago when it first came out and asked if I wanted to check it out and try it and stuff. And, I looked at it and I was just like, I just don't think I would use it in my daily workflow. And I think that came out before the speed editor did from BLACKMAGIC. So I've never tried out the Tourbox. I just don't see myself using something like that that often enough. You have to learn how to use it and get it set up for your workflow and stuff, but I just don't see myself using something like that. And at this point in time, if I was going to try something like that, I would go with the BLACKMAGIC speed editor because it's essentially going to allow you to do a lot of the same things, I think. You could probably program the Tourbox to do more and work outside of Resolve, which is nice too. I know a lot of people for photography use the Tourbox, or at least I've seen videos on it. I just don't think I would use it. It's cool, and if you can figure out how to work it into your workflow, I don't see why not. If anything, it speeds up your workflow, right? But for me and what I do, I just don't think, it would work out so well. So I haven't tried it. Looks cool. I'm sure it works great. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys have any experience with that, drop a comment down below. Let the rest of us know how it's working out for you. A few more questions here. Another question on the same video, 5 tips in Resolve 18. Great tips, and thanks for sharing. Question, how do I determine the timeline color space that my particular camera, in this case the DJI Action 3 or the DJI Mini 3 Pro, is using? Or any new camera or phone footage that I use. Thanks in advance. So, a quick Google search will probably tell you exactly what color space a particular device is using. You could probably also look in the manual if you have a manual for your device, or just look it up online. I don't keep manuals either. I just look them up online. But I think a quick Google search is probably the way to go. You may be able to see it in the clip metadata, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really sure. You have to check that out. But yeah, 100% just do a Google search. I'll tell you probably the quickest, what color space is the default for your camera, or making sure that you've actually selected that color space in your camera, in the camera settings or whatever. So that's how I would figure it out. Now, if you're filming in something that doesn't have like a log format, it's just a regular, looks pretty good when it comes out, it's probably Rec 709, right? So just depends on your device. Like my 5D Mark IV that I film on, it doesn't have a log format. It doesn't shoot in Canon log like my C100 here does. So it's just a Rec 709 video file. So just depends on what you're using. But quick Google search, that should give you the answer pretty quick, I would think. And the last question we have for today on the podcast from the same 5 tips in DaVinci Resolve 18 that you should know is this. Thanks for the tips. They are quite useful. One question. I'm pretty new to DaVinci, and instead of using remote grades, I use adjustment clips and adjust the color grade the way I want it. Is there any argument against this method? So a couple thoughts on that. No, if the adjustment clips are working for you, no problem in doing your color grade in there. Stretch that adjustment clip out as long as you need it. You've got one clip there. You can change them once. Boom, you're good to go. I mean, I think the main benefit from the remote grades is I only have to do it once. With adjustment clips, you only have to do it once, right? The only part where I could see it being a little bit of an issue, and I commented this too back to this viewer here, was that if you're using adjustment clips and you have your video clip and then you've got other clips underneath it, you know, whatever that might be, maybe you make a little, you know, square video of yourself and you're in the corner of the screen, you know, like I do in a tutorial or something, and you're using an adjustment clip on top of your video clip to color grade it, it's going to affect everything below that. Now, I guess you could throw like a power window on your adjustment clip so it only affects the part of, you know, the overall image that you want. That's one feature that Blackmagic, you guys got to add this in there. I don't even know how you would do it because that's a little out of my wheelhouse, but make it so that an adjustment layer can affect only the layer below it. And when I think about this, I'm thinking like Photoshop, right? When I'm editing in Photoshop and I apply adjustment layer above another layer, I can use a keyboard shortcut, I believe it's Alt or Option, and click on the layer, and then it like links it to just the layer below it, right? It's not going to affect anything else farther down my layer chain. It's just going to affect the layer right below it. I think that would be a huge deal in DaVinci Resolve here. If we can get adjustment layers to do that, dude, that would be so sweet. Blackmagic, come on, guys. You got this. You guys do so much awesome stuff. You could totally do that, right? Come on. So that would be great. And that would solve the problem of using an adjustment clip, you know, and having it affect everything below it. You can say, hey, just affect the video track right below my adjustment layer. But I think we would need an option to affect both just the layer below it or everything below it. Kind of like Photoshop. Same ideas there is what I'm thinking would be awesome. So yeah, adjustment clips can work. It just depends on how you're setting up your video files. Do you have anything underneath that you don't want that color grade applied to? Just depends on your project and what you got going on there. But yeah, I mean, if adjustment clips are working for you, I love them. They're great. They're awesome. I use them. Definitely get in there and use it. Nothing wrong with that, you know, whatever works best for you. That wraps up this episode of the DaVinci Resolve podcast. I hope this is helpful, just kind of talking through some stuff. I mean, if it was me and I'm out there, I'd want to listen to a little creator podcast, a little info about Resolve. If you guys haven't checked out Casey and Alex's, MrAlexTech's podcast, you guys got to check that out. That's great, man. Those guys are awesome. I love those guys. But it's nice. It feels like you're just hanging out with them and chilling out and talking some creator stuff. So definitely check out their podcast, but I listen to theirs, and hopefully you guys listen to this and it's helpful. Just kind of talking through some questions that you guys have. There's never a dumb question when it comes to Resolve or anything, really. You know, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to try and look it up, or maybe ask one of my fellow creator friends out there that might have the answer. Really just, you know, excited to be able to make this for you guys and just chat through different stuff, explain things a little bit more than I can in a comment on YouTube. But yeah, that is going to be it for episode 9 here of the DaVinci Resolve podcast. I'm going to try my hardest to really keep this going a little bit better than I did this last year, because I only got 7 episodes out this last year. And come on, you got to do more than that, right? So if you guys like it, smash the like button, drop me a comment, let me know if you want me to keep creating these. I enjoy doing it. I think it's helpful for you guys. And yeah, with that said, I'm going to keep an eye out for any comments or questions that you guys might have. If you want your comment featured here on the DaVinci Resolve podcast, when you ask your question, mention that. Say, hey, can you answer this on the DaVinci Resolve podcast? And I would be happy to do that. So, all right, guys. Well, we got the holidays coming up here. I hope everybody has a great holiday. And, you know, I'm going to try and get one of these out soon. If not, you know, before the new year, once we get into the new year here. And a lot of good stuff coming up as the year ends here and coming into next year. I'm excited. Love doing all this stuff for you guys. But thank you guys so much for tuning into the DaVinci Resolve podcast here. And with that said, guys, you have a great day, and I will catch you in the next podcast or video on YouTube. See you guys. Bye-bye.